Welcome to the Raven Knoll Show. I'm your host, Raven C. Knoll. I'm a wife, mother, counselor, mindset coach, and speaker, helping you win from within. So I came across a quote by some famous, well-known entrepreneur. I can't remember his name, but he said one of the most simplest statements that really stood out for me. But it holds so much truth. I think there's actually two quotes that I want to share, and I believe they're by two different people. Can't give you the name of who they are because I actually cannot remember, so forgive me for that. But maybe if you look them up, you may be able to find them. But the first says, "Learn to work harder on yourself than on your job." Okay, your profession, your business, whatever that is for you. And the second says, "Who you are speaks so loudly, I can't hear a word you're saying." Just sit with that one. Who you are speaks so loudly, I can't hear a word that you are saying. So basically, both of these quotes are saying who you are at your core and your foundation is more important than what you know, your title, who you are online, who people know you as, and the money that you make. Okay, so your character speaks volumes. Some people don't realize that when you enter into rooms, your reputation, it precedes you. Who people know you as, even if they have not met you before, even if they have no idea who you are, even if they haven't even had an interaction with you, how people speak of you will precede you entering into a room. So your character, but also your reputation speaks volumes. So today I want to help connect the dots for you. And I want to talk about how personal growth leads to professional advancement, okay? And it's not the other way around. Some people feel like, oh, once I get into the groove of what I'm going to do, then that's going to help enhance me and help promote me. But it's actually personal growth leads to professional advancement, okay? And so we're going to break this down. Y'all know I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher at heart. I got to break down the principles. I got to give you definitions. I got to give you a full understanding of what I'm talking about, okay? So when I say personal growth, I'm really talking about working on you. That is the simplest way to define personal growth, okay? It's the internal factors that make you, you. Okay, like your character, what we just talked about, your personality traits, your thoughts, your feelings, your fears, your insecurities, your mindset, which is the combination of a lot of these factors that I just mentioned. Okay, so when you show up for an interview, when you show up online, when you show up for a business meeting, when you show up on a stage or any platform, when you show up to create content, when you show up to do whatever it is that you do, that makes that is what you do, what you carry, what your profession, your profession is. When you show up, the you that makes you, you shows up with you. Okay. Let me say that again. When you show up in whatever facet, whatever capacity, whatever leadership positions that you have, whatever you do professionally, whatever business that you have, however you show up online, the you that makes you, you shows up with you. Okay. And so all those internal factors that I just mentioned make you, you, right? I just listed a whole bunch of things that make you, you, your personality, your fears, your insecurities, your thoughts, your feelings, your mindset, all those different things. So typically when you do show up in these different spaces and places in your profession, in your business, and whatever it is that you do in your leadership roles and responsibilities, two things are going to happen, okay? Two things, all right? Those internal factors that I just mentioned, I just listed, they are going to either create a limitation for you before or after the opportunity. Okay, so every single thing that I just listed, when I talked about it, the different things that cause you to show up as you and the different factors of yourself, those internal factors are going to either create a limitation for you before or after the opportunity. Okay, and so what do I mean by this? For example, let's say you have a strong fear of public speaking, yet you have a desire to get your message heard, right? Maybe you have a strong story, a strong testimony. Maybe you've been through something and you have a strong mission. Maybe something happened in your family dynamic. Maybe, there's a cause or a right that you're very passionate about. Maybe you're building a business because there's a value system within you where you want to impact people for a certain reason, or there's something driving you, right? You have a strong, a message or a strong vision, but you have a strong fear of public speaking, right? But you still, on the one hand, you want to impact people. You want to make an impact in the world. And so if you have not done the inner work to overcome that fear of public speaking, to overcome the anxiety that's associated with public speaking, if someone invites you to a platform, virtually or in person, to share your story, to share your vision, to share your mission, to share your why, to share whatever it is they want you to share, to speak and to open your mouth, you're probably going to sabotage the opportunity before you even make it to the stage. Before you even make it to the stage, okay? And that's what I mean by internal factors are going to create a limitation for you before you can even step into the right opportunity. And so maybe public speaking isn't a fear for you, but whatever that fear is for you, whatever that limitation is for you, whatever that insecurity is for you, whatever that, internal thing is for you that causes you not to be able to move forward, it's going to eventually create a limitation for you, right? When opportunities do come your way, to advance yourself professionally, or to advance in your career, or to advance in your, whatever your sector of influence is, whatever your profession is, it can easily cause a limitation for you, okay? And then on the flip side, let's just say you have bad character. let's just put this example out there. Let's just say you have bad character, right? But you really have a really great talking ability and skill set. Whatever that skill set is, maybe you go in for an interview for an operational job role. Let's give this example, okay? And because you have this great speaking ability and you're very persuasive and, you're really good with words, you have a great ability to articulate what you bring to the table. All right. And so your vision, even the vision that you articulate, you communicate to be able to move this company forward that you just interviewed with, it's like you do it effortlessly, right? On top of that, maybe your resume is slamming, it's banging. It got all kind of good stuff and juicy stuff, on there, okay? It's all kind of good stuff. Well-written, highly educated, great job experience, all this good stuff, right? So you get the job. But about 2 weeks later, there's some red flags about you. Because people are starting to talk. You're always late. You're very moody. You're just like not fitting into the culture of work, all these different things. And so about a month in, people at this establishment, they hate working with you because your character is trash and you don't get along with people. So they fire you. This is what I mean by internal factors are going to create a limitation for you after you receive the opportunity. Because who you are is going to show up regardless. You can be very persuasive with words. You can articulate a value very well. You can have a banging resume, a banging LinkedIn page, your social media page, branding can be all tip-top shape, right? But those internal factors, if they don't catch you before the opportunity, they will catch you after the opportunity. Okay, y'all following me? And so in both of these examples, neither person benefited from any professional advancement in the long run, right? Example number one, we got short-stopped before we can even jump into or step into a door that the Lord wanted to open for us, right? A door that God wanted to open for us, something we prayed about, something we was fasting about, something we was hoping for. We done declared scripture about it, all these different things. But because we didn't do the internal work, we showed up. The internal factors of what people don't see caused us to miss an opportunity when the door actually did open. And then on the flip side, like I gave you a different example of that, you can create this facade of who you are. You can fool people sometimes, right? They may be very fooled by your ability to be persuasive and your ability to articulate and your nice little presented packaged resume and all these different things in social media pages. But once they work with you, they're like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? This person don't show up on time for none of these client calls. Like they're always moody. Like it's just different things about them that helps me to realize that who they displayed themselves as isn't really who they are. And so, again, neither person in any of these examples benefited from any personal advancement or any professional advancement in the long run because their lack of investment in their personal growth. Okay? But both of these situations could have gone very differently. Very differently, right? Had they placed more value on the importance of working on yourself, more than you work on your business, your job, your resume, your social media pages, your skill set, more than you work on the external things, you need to be working on the internal things, okay? Because listen to me. A lot of my followers are going to be women. Either you're in leadership currently, or you desire to grow in leadership, or you want to advance in leadership, or you want to be known for something. You want to make an impact. You want to, do all these different things. You want people to really see you as a person of influence or a person of authority. But listen to me. Personal growth will lead to those things. Personal growth is going to lead to more maturity. Personal growth is going to lead to better character development. Personal growth is going to lead to greater levels of emotional intelligence. Personal growth is going to increase social and networking skills. Personal growth will help you grow in your self-confidence. Personal growth is going to give you more clarity and vision for yourself, your business, your career, whatever you're trying to push forward. The list goes on. But the thing about this is, we don't have enough value for investing in ourselves internally. We place more value on the external advancements or the external positioning or what the external things look like. But external facades don't move you forward. The you that you are will eventually show up. Okay? The you that you are will eventually show up. And that resume won't do you any justice. That social media page and all that branding will not do you any justice. None of that's going to make it's not going to make a difference when people actually see you for who you are and what you actually bring to the table. Okay? And so the thing about this is, everything that I just stated, maturity, self-confidence, emotional intelligence, networking skills, clarity, vision, all these different things, everything that I just stated, those are leadership skills. Those are leadership qualities. And guess what? One of the best ways to advance professionally, one of the key traits that are needed in business and that corporate establishments look at are leadership abilities and leadership qualities. So as you grow personally, you develop as a leader. As you give more investments into who you are on the internal parts of you, as you invest internally, you're going to naturally grow as a leader. And that leadership ability is going to help you advance professionally. Okay? Y'all ever, I'm like, seriously, have y'all ever thought somebody was something and then like the you of who they are showed up? Or maybe you presented yourself as something or someone that you were not based on, your desire to get a job or a role. And then people began to see that you are not who you say that you are. These things happen in professional environments all the time. And so it's important that you understand that when you grow personally, you're going to develop as a leader, and leadership abilities are going to help you advance professionally, okay? So this is how personal growth leads to professional advancement. You never want to get to a point in life where people either say to you directly or they think about you silently. The quote that I just mentioned earlier. Let me say that again. Think through this, okay? Really, really connect to this. You never want to get to a point in life where people either say to you directly or think about you silently, the quote that I mentioned earlier, which says, who you are speaks so loudly, I can't hear a word that you're saying. You never want to interact with people where they literally like in your face say, you know what, your reputation is so bad. You saying a lot of good stuff, but I can't even hear a word you saying. You don't want to have conversations with people at these tables and these seats and these opportunities where you're like talking yourself up and you're really like promoting your skills and you're like trying to talk about your business and you're trying to network and socialize and all these different things. And all they're thinking in their head about you is like who you speak, like all they're saying, who you are speaks so loudly to me right now. I can't even hear anything that you're saying. Your character is just so off that I can't even receive nothing you saying right now. Your reputation is so bad that I can't even receive anything that you're saying right now. Like, you never want to get to that point in life where that happens to you. Number one, it's like a slap in the face if somebody does it to you directly. I mean, that's pretty bold, but sometimes God got to use bold people to be able to help us grow. But then you also never want people to be thinking this silently about you. And then you're questioning, why can't I ever get good opportunities? Or why don't doors ever open for me? Or why can't I ever actually move forward? Because people are thinking things silently about your reputation and your character and your maturity. And so this is why personal growth and inner work is so important. And it's so necessary for those who want to advance in your life, in your business, in your profession, as a leader, whatever you want to advance in, whatever that desire is for you. This is why personal growth and inner work is so important and so necessary. Period. Period. There is no working around this, okay? So if you, as a leader, as a person with big vision, as a person with goals, as a person who, wants to make an impact, you have to be more intentional about making sure that you are investing in yourself internally. The external things fade away. That resume holds no weight when people actually have an encounter with you in a work environment. When people actually see what type of work ethic you have or you don't have. All that skill set and all that good stuff you was talking, none of that holds any weight when people actually have to work on a team with you. When you actually start booking clients and they're like, I thought you were supposed to help me with this, or you were supposed to have this in place, and that stuff isn't in order. None of that holds any weight, because again, the you that you are will either show up before or after the opportunity. And so you want to make sure that you are locked and loaded because your name is on the line. Your reputation is on the line. Your skill set is on the line. What you bring to the table is on the line. What you're going to be known for is on the line. This stuff is on the line. And so no one else can do the work that is necessary to make sure that you are protected. You have to make sure that you're doing the work so that whoever you connect with, whatever rooms you walk into, whatever platforms you stand on, you are locked and loaded. So fear can't get the best of you before the opportunity, and bad character can't get the best of you after the opportunity. Okay, y'all following me? So this is why it's so important for you to do this work. And that is how personal growth leads to professional advancement. Because y'all know I start getting stirred. I'm like, chop, get y'all together a little bit. If you are looking to work with me in any capacity, my Mindset to Momentum intensive is open for enrollment. So if you are an overwhelmed female leader and you want to accomplish at least 2 of your personal or professional goals by transforming your thinking without burning out in the next, you can apply for my Mindset to Momentum program. It is a 6-month program. So you want to go ahead and apply now. It's an application-based program. If you're interested, you can go to mindset2momentum.com, apply, and book a call with me. And you can also DM me goals, and I would, have no issue with answering any questions that you may have about the program, okay? All right, like I said again, If you are in any position that you have a desire to advance yourself, okay, this is an important way to think about personal development and personal growth. Most people are not going to come from this perspective, right? Most people are going to come from some fluff. Like, I'm not going to give you no fluff. I'm going to give you the truth. And most people are going to make it so basic where it's like, oh, you just need to do this or you need to do that. No one is necessarily putting the emphasis or the importance on inner work. I'm trying to help you play the long game. And the way that you play the long game is that you don't just put the emphasis or the structure on the external. External things, again, fade away. You have to put the weight on the internal parts. It's harder. Listen, it's way easier to go buy a suit. It's way easier to go buy a nice outfit, go get your hair done. It's way easier to pay somebody to write your resume. It's way easier to find out how to put some branding colors together, nice little scheme on social media. It's way easier to do these things. I'm not knocking nobody because, listen, I've done it. But it's way easier to do that than to have to do inner work. It's way easier to just do the external things than have to look in the mirror and say, you know what? There's some things I need to work on. And this is going to be hard to face myself. It's going to be very hard to come to the conclusion that there are some internal things within me, like my character or my maturity level, that need some work. It's going to be very difficult. And to do that work is even more difficult. This is why people don't do it. This is why people don't take time to really humble themselves and look in the mirror and say, okay, where do I need to work? What are some things I need to do to change myself? Because I do have these goals. I do have these desires. I do want to advance. I do want to move forward. I do want to excel. You don't want to look in the mirror and say, what can I do? You don't want to take ownership of the fact that you are going to show up everywhere you go. I had to get that somewhere, right? You show up wherever you go. Listen, it's the truth. Wherever you go, you carrying you. And so you don't want to do that. Instead, you want to take an easier version and put more investment in the external things to make it look good, to make it sound good, to make it easier for people to digest. But that's not the long game. Very short-lived. Very, very short-lived. Okay. One of my quotes that you're going to see, one of the things that's on my website, is that you win from within. That's the game you play. You win from within. Okay? That's the game. That's how you win in the long run. You win from within. You don't win from external things. You don't win from the outside. You win from within. And so that's why it's so important. Okay, so what's the best ways to grow into personal development? We need to have a come to Jesus moment with ourselves. Let's just be real. We need to have a come to Jesus moment with ourselves. Like it's just that. And you have to be able to really step up and take responsibility for your own personal internal work. We can't blame people. We can't keep blaming people. Yes, things may have happened in the past, like your family dynamic. Maybe you didn't grow up in the best upbringing. Maybe the value system within your home wasn't the best. Maybe you endured a lot of trauma. Maybe you endured, a lot of, just different things that have cultivated you into the person that you are today. Maybe it produced a lot of fear in you. Maybe it produced a lot of insecurities within you. Maybe it produced low self-esteem. Maybe you struggle with self-sabotage, imposter syndrome, perfectionism, all these different things that can happen, right? And can be a result of things that happened in our past. We can resolve that it happened. We can accept that it happened, but we can't keep placing the blame on those things. At some point, we have to stand up and say, you know what? This is now my fight to fight. This is now my responsibility to grow. I can't keep looking back or pointing the fingers at anyone else, but I have to point the finger at the person in the mirror because I'm the person that desires to advance. And so this is that come to Jesus moment that we have to have with ourselves. And we have to have a hard talk, right? You have hard talk with others. I strongly suggest a hard talk with yourself. I suggest one of those real, raw, relatable, transparent, vulnerable conversations with yourself where you say, hey, I am insecure. Hey, I have a fear of this. Hey, I am, my reputation isn't the best. Hey, I have a problem with showing up on time. Hey, let's call a spade a spade. Let's call a spade a spade. And that's just the truth of what we have to do. And so I would say the first step to grow in personal development is to have a come to Jesus moment and call a spade a spade. That's step number one. And then once you can actually recognize it for yourself, because here's the thing, y'all, people can point out our flaws all day, but ain't nothing gonna change until we realize that that flaw is actually a flaw within ourselves, right? People can call out issues within our character all day long, but until we can recognize that it's an issue, nothing's gonna change. You know what I mean? That's just like somebody saying, oh, you got a little mark on your face, right? But if I don't see the mark, I'm not gonna wipe it off, right? If somebody tells me, oh, there's some lipstick on your teeth, but if I don't see the lipstick, I'm not gonna wipe it off. You know what I mean? Like, if somebody say, you know what, oof, you kind of smell just a little bit, but if I don't smell myself, I ain't gonna do nothing about it. You know what I mean? Like, so you have to be able to recognize that it's an issue for yourself. That's step one. And then step number two, you got to do the work. It's not a hard formula, but it's a hard formula to actually implement, right? It's like, it's not something that's far-fetched or out of reach, but it's something that's hard to actually step into and to actually, implement within your life. And so once you actually recognize it and you can actually accept it, that it's an issue, that there's an area of growth that you need to make. And sometimes this is about praying too, y'all. We got to take everything to the Lord and ask him, Lord, the Bible directly says the heart is deceitfully wicked. Who can know it? That means there are some things within yourself that you are fully, completely unaware of are issues. And you really need to be able to go to the Lord and say, highlight, examine, search my heart, reveal to me areas in which I am unaware of or I am blind to, because we all have blind spots. We all have blind spots, every single one of us. Okay. And so sometimes we have to do that type of work as well. Y'all know I'm a Christian. I'm always talking about the Lord. It's always going to be a part of my content because that is how I live my life. And so we have to be able to do that work as well. And then once we do that work, we have to, after we actually acknowledge it, let's do the work to change it. Let's not stop at, okay, well, so-and-so told me that, I'm hard to work with. Okay, well, maybe I am hard to work with. Okay, but then you just continue, you don't do anything about it, right? We want to actually do the inner work to grow. If 50 people are telling you the same thing, somebody, 50 people telling you the same thing, everybody ain't lying. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be able to say, okay, let me take ownership of this and let me do what's necessary to change and to grow. So those are the first two steps, okay? So I will leave it with that. Way easier and anxiety free. Okay. What can I do to get over the anxiety of public speaking? Well, you know what? A lot of times, and I talk about this all the time. I'm not going to say a lot of times. Anxiety is just fear. That is the root, the cause, the basis, the foundation of anxiety. Anxiety is fear. Okay, it's fear of some type of future outcome that is yet to happen. So if you are dealing with anxiety, if you're struggling with anxiety, all anxiety is fear. Okay, and so what you have to do is you have to face the fear. And so it can look like you taking small steps of public speaking, right? So I would say this too. That anxiety is probably tied to some type of trauma. And so you probably want to figure out what that trauma bond is, like what happened exactly that produced a fear of public speaking. And then once you actually find out, okay, this is what happened over my life that created or birthed this fear in me. Now I know where the basis is or the starting point is. Let me take small steps. Number one, to heal. Let me take small steps to deal with and confront the fact that it is a fear and there is some anxiety there. And then how can I take baby steps to ease myself into public speaking? You're not going to be able to turn on your camera one day and just start speaking to the world. Or you're not going to be able to, just step on a stage of 100, 200 people just right away, right? There are small steps that you have to take to actually kind of retrain your brain and overcome that fear. And so one of the things I would do is, how can you take small steps to actually do what you're afraid of? Maybe it's, okay, let me start by practicing public speaking. And then let me imagine that I'm in front of 10 people, 15 people, 20 people. And then from there, how can I actually get myself in front of people? 1 or 2 people. Okay, I've conquered this giant. Let me go to 5 to 10 people. Okay, I've conquered this giant. Now let me go to 20 to 30 people. Now I've conquered this giant. So we never want to just thrust ourselves into it, but we want to be able to take small steps that kind of reset and retrain our brain and tell us that this is safe, that it's actually not something that we have to be afraid of, and it's actually not something that's harmful, but it's actually safe for us to be able to do this, and that nothing's going to happen if we do. What's going to happen is you're going to overcome the fear. There's nothing that's going to happen detrimental to you. And so that's what you want to be able to do. Hopefully that was helpful. Okay. All right. If you do have any questions, you can just go ahead and DM me goals and I'll answer any questions that you have. I'm always in my DMs, love speaking and love connecting with those that follow me here on my Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube communities, my social communities. But if you are interested in working with me, you can go to mindsettomomentum.com to apply and book a call with me for my Mindset to Momentum. That website will also give you all the information about the actual intensive so you can get clear on if it's a program that actually benefits and connects with you. Okay, y'all. Stay encouraged. Have a fantastic day, and I'll talk to you all soon. This has been the Raven Knoll Show. Thanks for listening. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to this podcast so you're the first to know when new episodes are released. And don't forget to leave a review. If you can't wait until the next show, follow along on Instagram, YouTube, or Twitter at Raven C. Knoll for more tips and to keep the conversation going. Go ahead and DM me on Instagram or take a screenshot of this podcast and share it to your IG stories. I want to know about your takeaways from the show. Don't forget to tag me and use the hashtag RCNPodSquad. Lastly, visit my website at ravencnoll.com and join my email list to get exclusive bonuses only for my email subscribers. Thanks again for rocking and rolling with me. I'll talk to you soon.